support chefs' rights.
Oh, yeah, but I also support chefs' wrongs, if you know what I mean. This is a hot dog is a sandwich.
Ketchup is a smoothie.
Yeah, I put ice in my cereal, so what?
That makes no sense.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
What? Welcome to our podcast, A Hot Dog is a Sandwich, the show we break down the world's biggest food debates. I'm your host, Josh Scher.
And I'm your host, Nicole Inaidi.
And I also support chefs' wrongs. Doesn't that feel good to kind of do that gross hand motion while going ha ha ha?
No, I actually hate rubbing my hands together.
What if you stuck out your tongue a little bit? That didn't feel good for you.
I don't like being malicious or evil.
I don't think it's malicious or evil. I think it's like
an evil, malicious hand movement.
No, it's like an F-boy thing. It's like an F-boy thing.
F-boys are evil and malicious.
I wouldn't say evil and malicious. I'd say maligned for sure with our priorities, but that's not what we're talking about today. No. We are talking about all of those phrases that chefs specifically on television have told you in the past that you took as dogma and canon, and today we're focusing on one specific one.
That's right.
That I heard every single chef
Me
say
too.
growing up. And that is, does fat equal flavor?
What a great question. Does fat equal flavor?
Fat equals flavor, as Rachel Ray drizzles olive oil on her canned
everywhere.
Chili pozole.
On herself,
On
on the asparagus, she EVO'd on everything.
Remember, fat equals flavor.
Her rice pilaf's just drenched in extra virgin olive oil.
If I had a nickel for every rice pilaf I watched Rachel Ray make.
17 freaking nickels.
Yeah, that's a lot of nickels at 85 cents. That'll get me 12 minutes of parking in Beverly Hills.
You know what my problem is? I can't do that math in my head.
No?
What's wrong with me?
What, 17 times 5 is 85. Am I wrong?
No,
That's
you're
correct?
probably right.
It's fine,
It
you
just
can't
gave
do
me
that.
a shiver down my back because I'm really bad at, really remedial at math. Fat.
I was a gifted child.
Really? I'm not surprised.
You were saying.
I think fat equals fat. Some fats have flavor, but they don't equal the big F flavor.
Break that down. When you say some fats have flavor, what are you talking
When
about?
I think about, well, when I was younger, my mom used to give me a tablespoon of olive oil at night. I think it was for constipation reasons, but she probably said, like, it's good for your hair, skin, and nails, right?
Yeah.
So
that's what you do to like a dog to get a shiny coat. We used to feed our boxer Olive.
well, look at this lovely, luscious.
Your hair reminds me of the shininess of our boxer Olive's coat.
Boxers are short hair.
Yeah,
and they're
but
brown.
you should see how shiny and lustrous her coat is, just like your hair.
Whatever. He tried to compliment me by saying I look like his former dog, everybody, in case you
She's dead! And Dave has a tattoo of her because she's beautiful and special.
I think olive oil has a distinct flavor, especially...
Of course, but that's not the flavor of fat. That's the flavor of the olives.
But it just so happens the fat is derived from the olives.
Sure, correct.
So whenever I think of, like, tallow, like, does tallow have a quote-unquote beef-like flavor? I would say it has a touch of beef stank to it.
But I think then you're not talking about the flavor of the fat specifically. That's like saying
It's derived from it, so
honey,
it has it.
like
Honey tastes like bees?
Okay, so you ever eat a bee and crunch out the honey?
Never.
Don't reckon that's the way it works. But if you really break down what taste is, right? So we all know, like, sweet, sour, umami, bitter, and sweet, sour, umami, bitter. What are we missing?
Sweet, sour.
Salty, one of them?
Yeah.
Salty.
Salty.
God, we're so
I said
dumb.
umami, but it's savory. So.
Well, umami is the fifth taste,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What we're actually talking about here is there a sixth taste, and is that taste fat? Right? Because you can talk about the beefy flavor of tallow, which it has, certainly. Peanut oil has its own flavor. Sesame oil certainly has its own flavor. But that's the flavor of the sesame. When you are to, like, ultra refine all of that out, and I think the closest we've gotten to ultra refined pure fat is basically vegetable oil, right?
Right. Canola.
They take, canola, so canola, you know, it just
Rapeseed.
stands for, rapeseed, which makes sense why they changed the name of it. They still call it that in, I think, a lot of parts of Europe.
Right.
But anyways, a lot of it was grown in Canada, so canola literally means Canadian oil, like ola meaning oil.
Are you for real?
Oh, did you not know that?
You just blew my freaking mind.
Yeah, that's the origin of canola. It's like Ida potatoes, just Oregon, Idaho. Canola is just Canadian oil.
Ida?
Did you not know that?
What other abbreviations are you about to spew?
Dude, I don't know.
Give me one more. That was
Oh
incredible.
God, do I have another one?
God,
I
that
don't.
was so good. It's okay. No pressure.
I don't
no
think
pressure,
so.
no pressure.
If I think of one, I'll let you know. But like vegetable oil is ultra refined. Does the actual fat that you are consuming have an independent flavor that we could call the sixth dimension of taste?
So you're saying in order for it to be considered on the tongue grid, you're talking
Correct,
about.
correct.
It needs to be so super refined that it is just its own standalone thing, like sugar, like salt.
Yeah, so like sugar, you can break down like pure glucose, right?
Yeah,
is the
sure.
pure form, and you can taste that. It tastes like sugar. C6H12O6, I think, is glucose.
Okay, and then nassel.
Nassel.
Or knuckle,
You're such a
depending on
nassel.
where you're from. That's salt, right? And then,
Yeah.
and then what would be the refinement of umami? Would it
Of umami, so umami is a collection of amino acids. So there's, God, I forgot how many amino acids are. Maggie, you could Google how many amino acids there are that make up a complete
82.
protein.
I'm going to say 82.
I think there's like 7. I don't think there's that
gonna
many.
say
82. 20 standard amino acids. There's somewhere in between us. But anyways, the flavor of umami is literally the prevalence of amino acids, which make
Right.
up, or the building blocks of proteins. And then citric acid would be kind of sour.
Malic acid.
Right? Citric, malic, tartaric acid all
that
contribute
all-
to...
Oh my God, it hurt my glands.
Well,
you know
so-
your glands?
Okay, think about citric acid, right? Think
Right.
about like a nice tart strawberry,
Love it.
right?
Okay.
Or an orange, that's citric acid.
Okay.
Your mouth feels good thinking about that. Think about malic acid. What's your mouth doing right now?
Forehead. It feels icky at the back of my throat.
You shuddered. You
Yeah.
physically were
Yeah,
repulsed
yeah,
by
yeah,
it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That is because all taste is, and this isn't my own original thought, this is coming from a journal called Flavor that I believe stopped being published in 2017. Because they're like, do we really need a whole journal called Flavor?
Sad.
But anyways, they wrote a really fascinating piece on this where they call taste simply like a nutrient toxin detection system.
Toxin.
Toxin. What did you just do?
Oh, my
You shuddered.
my
You went,
eyebrows
"Ah!"
raised.
Sorry, when you were talking about malic acid, yeah.
I did shudder.
You went, ah! And
my,
when you,
my receptors went up.
And when you think about the taste of bitter, right? The taste of bitter makes you kind of recoil because
Yeah.
that is the detection of toxins.
Tanniny. My tongue got tanniny when you
100%.
talked about it. Yeah.
And there's bitter tastes that we now like, but your body is meant to, be repulsed by toxins. Whereas citric acid
Oh,
or
interesting.
sour is a really interesting phenomenon where the right amount of sourness means like the right amount of certain vitamins and nutrients.
Sure. Okay.
The wrong amount of sourness means like, oh, something is going
Poison,
wrong.
poison,
It's
poison.
poison. And so if we think about that simply as nutrient detection, umami, the fifth taste, is your body wanting to get proteins and amino acids because
Right.
it's you're predisposed to want that. Sugar is very obvious. Fat, though, fat is like a very necessary part of
Development.
right? Like a fat is your brain functions better on calories that are digested
Sure.
from fat. You talk about hormone regulation, eating fats is really important.
Yep.
Wouldn't it make sense that if taste is just a nutrient toxin detection system, that we would have a detection for the actual flavor of fat?
Yeah, but if our tongues don't detect it, they're detecting where it's derived from. Then I don't think so. Because I'm trying to think of maybe it's a carrier. Maybe it helps carry.
Well, so that is certainly one theory, right? And also we're talking about a bunch of weird sciencey jargon from like one journal
But
that
it's
I
still
found.
super interesting.
It is, but also when we're talking about Rachel Ray saying fat is flavor, what she probably means is like fat carries flavor really well.
Right.
It's the reason if you were to just put straight vinegar, salt, lemon on a salad, it's not going to be nearly as pleasant as if you add olive oil to that and make it a vinaigrette.
Right.
Because what fat does is it carries flavor. Fat increases viscosity, decreases like the flow rate of certain things, so it lingers on your palate for a long time.
Right.
The fat molecules bind to it and it tastes really good.
Yeah.
But to me, asking whether or not it's a real flavor is interesting.
Again, like you said, whenever I think, have I ever taken a drink of canola oil? No,
You've never just sipped on it just to see what it's like?
I've never found it valuable. Like
Oh, it's
that.
incredible.
But what does it taste like though? Nothing.
So, well, I mean, God, what does
canola oil taste like?
I remember hearing somebody asked a Japanese chef what umami tastes like, and he just goes, "It's like the feeling of taking a sip of cold beer at the end of a long day, and you go, umami is the ah." The point is, if you try,
wait, no, I totally
no, but what does
disagree.
umami taste like?
Umami tastes like my brain instantly goes to coconut aminos and soy sauce.
Yeah, but like you're just talking about a food tasting like, you're talking about a thing tasting like another food. So if you were to ask me what pure fat tastes like, I'd say it tastes like olive oil, it tastes like butter, it tastes like canola oil, right? You can't really describe the taste because the tongue is like the only part of your body that has that.
Sugar is sweet.
Fat is fatty.
Fat is fatty.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to use the words to describe it that are already there.
How do we, let's determine like rendered fat versus unrendered fat. Like how does that equate into this? When you think about something like beef tallow and butter and things like that versus like you eat a steak and it has that really fatty bit that hasn't been cooked all the way. Those two things have different fats, right? Like the fats are different.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And like different fats have a lot of different flavors. Butter is interesting because I think people underestimate the flavor of dairy. People, especially who grew up in like America, or big dairy consuming worlds. We're like, oh, butter is a relatively neutral-ish taste, but then
it's not. Who calls butter neutral?
But there's a way to refine butter to then make it slightly more neutral tasting.
Ghee.
It's called ghee. It's called clarifying butter, is what we'd call it.
You get rid of the milk solids and the water, and it's just pure fat.
100%. It still has its own taste. It's freaking
it's
delicious because it's dairy and all fats taste different.
Yeah.
You know, but like there is a lot of emerging evidence to say that fat is indeed the sixth taste, and they have like there's basically a couple different things that you need to qualify something as having a taste or having a flavor.
Okay.
And part of it literally comes down to hooking up neurons in people's brains that see if there's a direct link to it being on the tongue and like a neurotransmitter release.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting. So is it like isolating just the tongue or is it the whole mouth?
Basically, I think it's isolating just like the tongue and like the relationship to the taste bud.
Oh
but there were experiments done where they said that they basically found all of the precepts that you would need for fat to be considered a flavor. So it effectively is the sixth taste.
So it is. So fat equals a type of flavor.
Fat is literally a flavor. I don't know if this is like consensus among the scientific community.
Okay, but what about because with chefs, I think fat does equal flavor.
100%. And like, again, this is a weird mix of scientific jargon and then like cooking advice, you know, like, drizzle olive oil on top of your roasted vegetables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like, is there ever a point in your home where you're like, adding excess fat to this dish would not make it better?
No.
Right? It always kind of does.
Yeah.
There's a breaking point.
The only time
I reached that at a restaurant this weekend.
I say that. The only time I've ever done this when I tried to make kimchi fried rice and I accidentally
We've been there.
Put way too much oil. By the time I put it in my bowl, it was literally swimming in like 1.5 inches of oil.
Yeah,
because I had no idea what I was doing. Which happens to, the best of us.
I was at a restaurant this weekend, and for some reason I've encountered this now at 2 restaurants in the last like 2 weeks that I've never seen before in my life.
What's going on?
Where I was at Dunsmore in Los Angeles.
Love
Great
that place.
freaking restaurant. Oh my God. They make a cornbread that holds...
Sexy.
Somehow the weight of the butter in the cornbread is more than the cornbread weighs itself. It's tough to describe. It creates like
incredible.
What do they call it? It's like
a black hole?
It kind of like sucks the butter into the cornbread and makes it disappear, but then it explodes in your mouth like a freaking gusher when you eat it.
A disappearing star.
There's something, I was thinking about something called like...
Supernova.
It's like a super solution, or if something is super soluble in science, it's like a water can actually absorb more solid than water, but still maintain a liquid.
I was thinking about science in this space. Sorry.
But anyways, when you say fat is flavor, Dunsmore is like the epitome of that restaurant.
That's actually really true.
They had a dish that was just like roasted dates swimming in like brown butter.
Okay, how did that make
That was the whole dish. God dang it was delicious. It was so good. I love dates, fudgy, sweet.
Right.
They were just like hit on over the open fire. So you got some kiss of wood on it and then just swimming in fat. And I was like, this is gonna be too much. And I ate it and I was like, God, that fat makes the date so much fudgier.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes I just slice open a date and then I put a pat of butter in there and I dip it in sea salt and it's the bomb.
Damn, dude. It's it's a sensory overload. And then I was at the Walrus and the Carpenter up in Seattle, another great restaurant. Shout out Chef Renee Erickson. But they had a like warm date dish just swimming in olive oil. And like that fat changes the flavor so much.
Of course, yeah.
Part of that's because it's making it sort of travel across your palate.
Right.
But then I think part of that is also just like you add fat to any food, it's gonna make it taste better.
Yeah, I think it's because me and you were raised in the fat-free moment of diet culture.
Yeah.
So fat was kind of foreign in my house. It was a little bit like it wasn't taboo, I would say, but like American food, when my mom would make it, she'd be using very, very low calorie substitutes.
Yeah.
A lot of spray bottles of oils and stuff.
Well, what about when she made Persian food? Because a lot of Persian stews.
A lot. People don't know this. Persian food has a lot of good old fat in it. A lot. And I actually have specific cooking oils for Persian food that I only use for Persian food.
What are they?
I use a lot of grapes. So I use a lot of grapeseed oil and I use ghee.
Oh, funny. Because a lot of Persian khoresh, Persian stews. I would bet there's probably some historical link with like the cooking of Indian curries just because they share so many different food ways.
Right, yeah.
But there's almost like a layer of oil slicked on top.
There has to be. It's almost like like if you ever had like Ethiopian food.
Yeah.
There's like at least like a finger's worth of oil at the top. And the oil is typically perfumed with whatever spice or whatever herb you're using. So it changes color. So if you're making like a red stew a lot of the time, it would be tinted. The oil is tinted orange because you've been cooking tomatoes in that for like hours and hours. And it's not always it's not supposed to be emulsified, which I learned the hard way. As someone who's learning how to cook Persian food, you do not want the fat emulsified. You just want it sitting on top. Whenever you make fesenjoon, which is this walnut pomegranate molasses, it's gorgeous. It has this bright green yellow oil from the turmeric, and it just sits on top of this brown stew. And then with korma sabzi, it's like this dark green sludge of oil. Sorry.
God, it's so good. I was another little chefism, just like butter makes everything better. And there's been, I feel like, a rising tide in people talking about why the reason restaurant food is good is simply because chefs are adding a ton of salt and butter.
Yeah, we had Josh Weissman on, and he said that's why.
I tend to agree with that. Though I was also talking to the homie Internet Shaquille, and he was kind of railing against that.
We went to Dunsmore's sister restaurant with
Hatchet Hall with Internet Shack.
We went to Hatchet Hall with him.
Good old Net Shack. But he put out this great video where he was talking about how people use that as an excuse for why their food isn't good at home. Oh, well, my food can never be as good as a restaurant's because they're adding so much butter and salt.
It's not only because of butter and salt. It's also the techniques that are used.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, you said 100% like 50 times already.
Really?
You've said,
oh, yeah.
I 100% agree. Like, right, Maggie?
I 100% agree. I'm saying 100% a lot.
You keep saying it. It totally distracted me.
Sometimes you just get stuck in a little loop.
I get like that too.
But there is, if you were to take 2 burgers cooked with the same exact technique, right? Like a nice hard sear. We're not talking about smash burgers even, just a nice hard seared burger cooked to like a medium well on a brioche bun, whatever.
Right.
If one of those burgers is 90-10 lean to fat and the other's 80-20 lean to fat, the fattier one's going to taste better. We've done this.
We've done this. I agree. Yeah.
If one of those buns is toasted in butter and the other is toasted dry, the butter toasted one's going to taste better.
Yeah, that's
If
true.
all else being equal, adding fat up to a point, don't toss the whole bun in melted butter and serve it up wet. We're not animals. But adding that fat is going to make that better.
It's all about a balance. I think also chefs balance their food very well.
And fat's a big key in that balance.
And exactly. Semi Nostrat, she made a whole book called Salt, Fat, Acid, and Heat. Sold millions of copies, probably. I'm not sure. It's because these are all the cornerstones of being a good cook, and delicious food. It contains all of these, I would say, tactics in order to be delicious food.
Yeah, and we've talked about the Thai idea in cooking of Klom Klom.
Oh, yeah. Tell them about Klom Klom.
Klom Klom. So this idea of balance, but it's not balancing everything at, say, a level of 5 out of 10 taste. It's balancing everything to 10 or 11 on the 10-point scale, right? So if you have more fat, you can then add more acid. You can then add more salt. You can then add more heat. So fat allows you to do that, which I think is really, really cool. Do you want to know the 5 criteria for something to be considered a taste? Because there are 5 criteria. There are 5 criteria that they laid out in the scientific study.
Lay it on me.
So 1, there must be a distinct class of affective stimuli, and the stimuli responsible for fat taste are the breakdown products of fats and fatty acids. There should also be a transduction mechanism for receptors to change the chemical code of stimuli to the electric signal. So basically, the fat has to have something that is independently detectable.
Okay.
And so the thing in this case that they found was literally the prevalence of fatty acids being independently
Triggered?
Independently triggered.
Okay.
And then number 2, Transactional, we talked about that. Number 3, there should be neurotransmission of the electrical signal to the processing regions of the brain. So we talked about that. Number 4, there should be perceptual independence from other taste qualities, which I think is really interesting. They actually say this is controversial because there's no obvious perception, such as like sweetness of sucrose or saltiness of sodium. And then some scientists suggest that the fatty acid taste component is at detection threshold only, and any definable perceptions are associated with either aroma or chemesthesis. So there's no scientific consensus on whether or not fat really is like the 6th flavor, but there is some compelling evidence to believe that it is.
That was very interesting.
Was it? It was a lot of scientific jargon.
It was a lot of scientific jargon.
I really had a fun time reading this study.
But to be honest, I think fat is a carrier of flavor because food tastes better when it has fat in it, regardless of what it is.
What foods do you think are most transformed?
I think pastries is a big one. Whenever I think of like something like a chiffon cake, like that airy nature, it has no fat in it, right? The fat weighs it down, so it's just egg whites, and and the yolks are the fat.
Yolks
right?
are fat, yeah.
Yeah, but whenever I think of something like a butter cake or a pound cake, I think the mouthfeel and that crumb and that texture really sends it into overdrive for me. And I think it makes it so much more of a more enjoyable experience instead of like fluffy. I'm not a big fluffy, airy person. Like, I don't like the idea.
You want dense.
I think
I
I'm
want
a
my
dense
cake
girl.
to take me to Pound Town.
I think I'm a dense cake. I think I'm a dense food girl, if you want to know the truth. When people are like, oh, volume eating, you got to eat a lot of like cabbage and stuff. I'm like, I don't really find value in that, but I like Hausa steak, and I'll eat all the fat off of it.
I like the density of Indian sweets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a lot of sugar and ghee pounded
round.
with nuts and just kind of in a...
It's round and
paste.
hard.
I like dense foods too, like a
Me
mochi
too.
butter cake.
Me too.
To me, I think like the ultimate expression of fat equaling flavor, it's so dumb. It's buffalo sauce.
Oh, that is
you know what
such
I
an
mean?
interesting take. Okay.
Okay, so check this out. If you ever want to do a fun little experiment of how fat affects flavor, Frank's Red Hot, which to me is the best wing sauce, the best like vinegary Louisiana style hot sauce.
Frank's Red Hot original or the buffalo sauce?
Well, this is where I'm going with that, right? Take Frank's Red Hot original and mix that with butter.
Right.
Versus eating Frank's Red Hot buffalo style sauce. Because Frank's Red Hot buffalo style sauce, it's great for bodybuilders who are trying to stay within certain macros because it's like a delicious sauce. It's vinegary, but it's got some body to it. So it makes you kind of think of fat. Drizzle that on all your stuff, but there's like basically no calories in it.
Right.
When you add butter to it, obviously there's a bunch of calories in it.
Try
Try the buttery Frank's Red Hot original versus the Frank's Red Hot buffalo sauce that has no fat in it, and you will see exactly how fat affects flavor.
Dude, let me tell you though, I love the buffalo sauce of Frank's Red Hot so much more. I do, because I've done this exact test before.
Really? Why?
I think it's the viscosity of it.
Joel, add some guar gum to your buttery sauce.
The viscosity of the buffalo sauce negates the need for butter for me, though, because I feel like I'm getting that fattiness from the rendered chicken wings.
Oh, that's a fair point, though, because there is subcutaneous fat. And
That's what I'm
like if
saying.
you're frying the chicken wings off.
That's what I'm saying. The subcutaneous fat takes the place of, but let me tell you, a good buffalo wing with you could taste like the butter and like the little like dash of Worcestershire sauce that someone else added that's not from the bottle. You're like, all right, somebody cooked here. You know what I mean?
I think probably like the best expression of fat carrying flavor used in foods is in Indian food.
Sure, okay.
In like a tadka, in blooming spices. That's another thing that if a seasoned cook who like knows how to bloom spices in oil to the appropriate temperature makes food versus an unseasoned cook who might just be like dumping some jarred powders into a delicious sauce and calling it curry, that difference to me is it's so massive.
It is so massive.
Nicole, it is 100% different.
Get another one.
100%.
Take a shot every time Josh says 100%.
100%.
Yeah, I think
100%.
I think Indian food is a fantastic expression of fat equaling flavor.
It's 100%.
But people, but at least Americans, they're like, oh no, the flavor comes from the spices that it uses. It comes from the curry powders. It comes from the curry leaves.
I mean, it does, but that flavor got to get transmitted somehow.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I totally agree with you. But can you confidently say on this podcast that fat equals flavor? Because I'm gonna say, yes, fat equals flavor. What flavor is it? I don't know. Take it up with your mama.
I would say that fat alone is not an independent taste. I believe that they have found evidence to suggest that it is, and I think that that does probably have certain implications in the research of obesogenic foods. However,
I've never heard that before.
obesogenic? Yeah, foods that are like linked to like large scale obesity.
Okay, cool.
And that's kind of the reason people study this is like if we classify it as a flavor, can we then start researching what fats people reach for and potentially overconsume because fat is so much more calorie dense than even any carbohydrate.
How cool. Okay.
Right? And they're studying this in lab rats right now.
Sorry to cut you off while you were on your soliloquy.
I'm on my Jamiroquai right now. I don't think fat is necessarily a standalone flavor. However, if you were to add excess fat to 85 to 90% of the foods that you're eating right now, is that food going to taste better and have more flavor? Yes. If you switch from 2% milk to whole milk in your cereal, that is going to have more flavor. So in that sense, does fat equal flavor? Absolutely, dude. 100%. 100%. 100%.
Does flour,
100%.
I want to ask you, does
100%.
flour have flavor?
Does flour have flavor? You know, it's a fun experiment. You take any food. This kind of goes back a little bit to Fletcherism. If you take any food and you just chew it in your mouth for long enough, eventually it will taste just like glucose. It'll taste like sugar, including flour.
Any food?
I believe this to be true. Or maybe it's
Like
just
a
any
green
food.
bean?
Yes.
If I crunch a green bean in between my molars for 7 minutes, it'll taste like sugar?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because the process of digestion,
You're a
the
liar.
process of digestion, Maggie, if you can Google this to make sure I'm not a dum-dum, but the process of digestion like happens within saliva. That's the first line of defense. Most of us just, swallow our food like a duck.
I think it's a food people thing.
What?
Swallowing our foods and not
Yeah,
chewing.
or normies out there. Okay, wait, hold on. Chewing some food like bread for a prolonged period around 7 minutes can lead to a sweet taste as saliva breaks down complex carbohydrates and simpler sugars like maltose. But green beans have carbohydrates in them,
Salivary
right?
amylase, one of my favorite medical terms.
But like green beans do have carbohydrates in them, which means that carbohydrate would eventually break down long after. You'd probably have to eat a lot of green beans. Get a real wad going, real wad of GBs.
So you gotta tell people, eat your food slower so it'll taste better.
I mean, yeah, I think that's more of a
We should
a
start.
metaphorical sense of like lingering on the savoriness of life. But
we have to ask the normies if they swallow their food or chew. I feel like me, you, and everyone on the food team, like this is something I figured out whenever I was working at the cafe in my culinary school, was the absolute insane rapid fire eating you have to do while on the line.
yeah,
You literally, I remember vividly in my chef whites, bending down because someone handed me a deli cup filled with mashed potatoes, tri-tip, and broccoli, and said, "Eat this now. There's a lull in service."
that's crazy.
And I literally remember, and I hoovered it, and everyone around me also was crouching down like we were in the trenches of war.
yeah.
Hoovering our food, and then the expo guy was like, "Okay, everybody get up. It's time to go again." And then everyone was like getting up and like wiping their mouths. But I think there's a link between chefs and food people and the way that they eat and how they eat and how it absolutely screws their whole entire relationship with food.
Have you seen that handsome young man line cook from Brooklyn who will do the parody videos like outside the restaurant he actually cooks at? That's just like, hey, what's up? I'm a second-year line cook in Brooklyn, and here's what I'm eating for staff meal.
Shaggy hair, tattoos, wears a tank top.
Yeah, piercings. And you'll be like, here I have a 4-ounce deli cup filled with like mashed potatoes and salad, and then I have 3 hand-rolled cigarettes and a quarter of a date.
Oh,
It's a
that's a
joke.
joke?
It's a joke.
thought
I
it
mean,
was
like,
real this whole time.
rooted in reality, of course. I'm sure they did consume that, but listen, it's hard out here. Hard life.
Spring always gets me in the mood for fresh starts, cleaning out closets, planting something new, and this year, I'm diving into a new language with Rosetta Stone.
Puedo tener 3 tortillas de maíz y un poco de tinga de pollo, por favor. ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre jitomate y tomate? You know what that was, Nicole?
That was you speaking excellent Spanish.
That was me trying my best. But I think there's something really exciting about the idea of traveling somewhere and actually speaking the language. Ordering food, chatting with locals, it's a totally different experience when you can truly connect, which is why I used Rosetta Stone before going to Mexico recently, and I was able to talk about Oaxacan food with a wonderful chef that I met.
That's so awesome. Rosetta Stone has been the trusted leader in language learning for over 30 years, and their immersive approach actually helps you absorb and retain a new language naturally, whether you're on your desktop or learning on the go with the app. What I love most is the True Accent speech recognition feature. It gives you real-time feedback on your pronunciation, so you sound way, way more natural. Plus, there's no translation crutch. It trains you to think and speak in your new language from the start.
Tomate es más pequeño y jitomate es más grande. Did you know that?
I was literally Googling jitomate a few days ago, trying to find out what a jitomate is. So
and I learned that because I was in Mexico. Don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now. A Hot Dog is a Sandwich listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. That's right. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life.
Visit rosettastone.com/hotdog to get started and claim your 50% off today. Don't miss out. Go to rosettastone.com/hotdog and start learning today. Josh, I need you to close your eyes. We're going to do an experiment together.
Do I have to?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're going to try 5 different kinds of mayonnaise. And you need, and because I know how much you love mayonnaise, and I know that you love putting it in everything from your deli sandwiches to your mashed potatoes. So I wanted you to try these, and I want you to tell me which is which.
Do you ever get dizzy when you close your eyes?
No. Here's the first one. Open sesame. If you could take a guess as to what that one is, what would you say?
These are all normal mayonnaises, but I'm guessing the brand.
Exactly.
Okay, I believe that is Sir Kensington's.
Okay, great. So here
I think they may have gone bankrupt.
Okay, open up, young man. Here comes the choo-choo train. Oh, don't mash in the microphone.
Tangy, I'm going to say Best Foods.
Okay. Next. Ooh, airplane.
I believe that is Kraft. A little bit sweeter on the palate.
Nice. Okay, now fighter pilot.
Oh, God. Are any of these store brand?
None of these are store brand. They are all OG products.
I believe that is... No, I think that's Best Foods, and I think I had Duke's earlier.
So you think that's Best Foods?
Yep.
Okay.
I think Duke's was, what is that, number 2?
Got it. Okay, give me 1 second. Thank you. Just give me 1 second. Hold on. We're going to cut this
I
off.
want you to know that I don't like this, and I kind of feel like throwing up.
Okay, whatever.
These mayonnaises are very hot.
Okay, get over yourself.
Okay.
Last one. Oop.
Ew, God, I think that's one of those, like, awful, like, avocado oil. I don't even know the brand, but it's maybe says something paleo on it. It's like, I can picture the freaking jar. It almost looks like Sir Kensington's, but it's got, like, weird graffiti writing on it.
Is it called Follow Your Heart?
Yeah, I'll say that.
Okay, great. Josh, guess what? You
that?
got 0 out of 5.
What were they?
The first one was Kewpie.
Oh, really?
The second one was Sir Kensington's, the tangy one. The third one was Hellman's or Best Foods, depending on what part of the country you're from. D was Duke's, and the last one was Kraft.
That is utterly fascinating, and I found out that I have a terrible palate.
There you go.
Oh.
Well, guess what, Josh? Tell them what time it is.
It's time for a little segment we call... I'm sorry, I ate a lot of hot mayonnaise. Opinions are like casseroles.
Are you going to be okay with all the mayonnaise you ate?
Yeah, it was just a lot. It's
I'm
kind of
so
some of them were
sorry.
big.
I'm sorry. I'll try to make them smaller next time.
We're doing it next time? Mm-hmm. I don't want to.
I don't care.
I'm hungry for real food,
I don't
not mayonnaise.
care.
I don't
Hi,
wanna...
Josh and Nicole. I'm
She's
calling
speaking!
because I was watching the husband versus wife cooking challenge on
you.
Mythical Kitchen, and Josh said that when he gets to the end of a Parmesan rind, he just throws it away. But I think there's actually a really good use for that. Every time I have a Parmesan rind, I chop it up and I put it in the microwave for a few seconds.
Yeah.
And it crisps up like this really delicious Parmesan chip. It's a great snack for me. It's a great snack for pets.
Right.
And I really recommend trying it. Have either of you ever tried this before? And do you have any other uses for the end of a Parmesan rind?
Let me tell you, I've seen this on TikTok, so I feel like I've done it. I've never done it before, but I feel like I've done it because I've seen it on TikTok.
What a frightening indictment to modernity that you just said that. That's so crazy.
What a frightening indictment to modernity.
That's like so dystopian to me that you're like, well, I feel like I've experienced it because I watched it on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Like 30 times.
Oh, I feel like I suddenly understand all the horrors in the world now. Go ahead.
Well, now I'm embarrassed.
No, talk about the cheese. Talk about the cheese you experienced on your phone. What's the texture of it like, Nicole?
It's light and airy because I heard the crisp whenever they
Incredible.
do it. You're so fake right now. Just because I force-fed you mayonnaise, this is how you treat me? You love mayonnaise. Sorry, we're fighting. Oh, yeah, I save mine for soup.
I save mine for soup. No, I don't know what else you'd do with it. I guess you'd probably like, try grating it.
I freeze it and I put it
crisp.
in my soup, or I put it in my sauces and then I take it out.
Yeah, I'm sort of fine just letting that be the end of my cheese journey. You know, that's where the cheese stops for me. I also
what did you say? Terrifying? What into modernity?
Terrifying indictment against modernity. I think.
I want that on my tombstone.
Oh my God.
And I want a video looping of like me doing like crazy stuff on the internet.
This is a very good hack, and I would like to try it one day. I really, really don't cook with a lot of cheese at home.
I know you're not a big cheese guy.
I'm not a big
cheese
cheese
guy. Which is weird because your wife loves cheese.
She identifies as a cheese B word, and that's her word to say, not mine, so she can say it.
She's Beowulf.
Do you remember like going to restaurants and they'd be like, "You can get a little cheese plate for like $14, and here's a cheese that we selected for you, and there's like a little jam, like a honey thing." Like a pickled
this
fig.
Maria Bamford ass voice. You've been doing it for so long.
There's like a pickled fig. I'm Maria Bamford's normal voice. Oh my God, Tom, that's incredible. That's my Maria Bamford normal voice impression, yeah.
That's pretty good.
I love Maria Bamford.
Speaking of which, we need to get Amy Sedaris on the show because I love that woman.
I'll take either Sedaris.
Oh, I don't read a lot of books, but I have read a David Sedaris book. That's his name, right? David Sedaris?
Yeah.
I've read like 4 David Sedaris books.
I love that David Sedaris turned being funny into being a best-selling author. And if David Sedaris was born, let's say like 40 years later, he would have just been making TikToks for free with all of his funny musings. But I love that he was able to turn that into something meaningful that people sat down with and really contemplated.
Again, I think I think he might be my favorite author.
He's a great author.
Which is crazy because, again, don't read. Where were we?
Talking about cheese?
Okay, next opinion.
I'd like to try it.
Hi, Nicole and Josh. I have, oh my God.
Oh, I love how you're excited.
So, my mom recently recreated one of my grandma's old recipes. At least that's what they said. And I just need to tell you this because the whiteness is crazy.
Yes, let's go.
It's pineapple, cheddar cheese, and Ritz crackers, and you bake it.
Okay.
And like my whole family's white. I'm adopted from Asia. So I was like, this is like crazy white people stuff. And here's the thing. I tried it, and it is delicious. And I am so confused. Please advise. Thank you.
Do not yuck white people yum.
Listen, this is a hot take. White people are people too. You know what I mean? And they don't know any better than to bake Ritz crackers with pineapple. That's simply the food of their homeland.
Yeah, and that's cool, man.
It like kind of is. When you think about like white American culture, the food culture of it is sort of just commerce in a way. And like canned pineapple is the ultimate tale of commerce that was particularly marketed towards white Americans as like part of culture.
Pineapples got cool when we bought Hawaii.
Yeah, it forcibly annexed violently because of their pineapple farms and the Dole Corporation. Like that is.
Did you ever find out if pineapples were native to Hawaii?
Pineapples are not native to Hawaii, but they're. Are they even a canoe crop? I think they might be post-canoe crop even.
I remember you wanted to look it up.
Yeah, no, pineapples are not native to Hawaii, but like they have been cultivated there for a very long time. But yeah, I really genuinely love that for you though, because I think every single dish tells a story in its own way.
Sure.
And a lot of those stories are like weird and sad, especially if you look at even like Korean fried chicken, right? One of the most delicious chicken dishes in the world is kind of only there because of like American military occupation, right?
Right.
And like an unjust war fought over communism, So like the history of the world is simultaneously bleak and hopeful, and terrible things come from it, and wonderful things come from it, and the world moves on, and we eat food and we share stories with each other, and I think that's cool.
I think it's cool that you're adopted.
Yeah, that too.
I think that's awesome.
Hi, Josh and Nicole. This is Braxton from Utah. Long-time listener,
This is
first-time
about
caller.
to involve pineapple and
I
cheese
just found
too.
out that they're not making Pepsi Nitro anymore,
What?
and I'm very offended.
What?
And I just can't believe they ever do such a thing. So if you could use your connections over there at Pepsi, get them to make it again, that'd be great. Thanks.
What's Pepsi
Bye.
Nitro?
Tell you what, Braxton, long before I try and get him to bring back Pepsi Nitro, I'm getting him to bring back Pepsi Holiday Spice, and I'm getting him to bring back Pepsi Blue. Pepsi Holiday Spice, of course, flavored with it just kind of clove, really bad. And then Pepsi Blue had nothing to do with Pepsi, but it was bright blue, and they had the most incredible 2000s branding. Pepsi Nitro. This is when like nitro cold brews were becoming popular.
Oh my God.
Especially the RTD, the canned ones.
Obsessed with them.
So for people that don't know, there's kind of, I guess, two ways to, it's not carbonate, two ways to make drinks a little fizzy to change the mouthfeel of a drink. One is by adding like carbonic acid or carbon dioxide, I suppose, that creates carbonic acid, which
Right.
is fizzy. And then you can also nitrogenate something. So some beers are, carbonated and some are nitrogenated. Like a Guinness is nitrogenated, which is why it isn't particularly fizzy. Ditto for, I think, maybe Abbott's has a nitrogenated blonde ale. So they did that with Pepsi, and I tried it, and I'll tell you what, I really prefer carbon to nitrogen in that regard. It's just like, it tastes just kind of flat and thick, just like a flat and thick flavored Pepsi.
Oh.
And I found it very unnerving. So, Braxton, you are in this fight alone. I apologize, but Godspeed to you.
I've never had it before, so I can't really say yes or no, but I'm sorry that you're losing one of your favorites. It's always tough. You know what happens with me in skincare a lot? Like, I use a face lotion for like 2 years, then they're like, oh, we're discontinuing it. And I'm like, why? So.
Look at the can. They tried to make the can of Pepsi Nitro look like La Colombe coffee.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. It's so crazy.
Oh, I love innovation in the snack food space. I find it very silly.
Me too. You know what we never did? We never talked about your ex-girlfriend and why you don't go to Chili's. Was that it? Or
What?
tipping? Oh, why you and your ex-girlfriend don't tip or whatever?
Look at the Pepsi Blue branding, though. It looks like something that a guy in 2006 would have
Yeah.
tattooed on his shoulder.
It looks like an Affliction t-shirt.
Yes, it does.
Tell the story, because we have to follow up, because you said we were going to follow up.
That's right. I said I'd talk about this. Regards to tipping at buffets. So, my ex, still smartest person I've ever met, much smarter than I am, knows a lot more trivia than I do, and I know a fair amount about trivia. But they actually went on a game show, and they were asked the question, according to the Emily Post Guide to Etiquette, what is the correct amount to tip at a buffet? And it's between 10%, 15%, 20%. You know the answer?
I'm going to say 10%.
It is indeed 10%, and she said
Me
20.
and your ex-girlfriend are the same.
And I totally understood where she was coming from, because if she says 10% on television and the answer is 20, people are like, wow, what a dick. This person's only tipping 10%.
I wouldn't think that.
But it was according to the Emily Post Guide to Etiquette. And I remember my dad telling me that weirdly, because we went to a lot of buffets. And he would probably tip like a quarter.
So she was worried about the public perception of her?
Yeah, and I understood it.
On a game show?
Yeah, you know, what are you going to do?
Girl.
What are you going to do?
I would love
Lost
to be on
the
a game
show because of it.
I would have loved to be on a game show. Oh, she lost because of it?
Lost because of it. Bring back Coke Black. Coca-Cola Black.
Hello, my name is Theodore, and my heart was not
love
prepared
that name.
for your sultry voicemail.
What about the rest of your body?
Gird your
I am
loins.
from Oregon, and I make a thing that I call the liquor. I put it in everything.
Huh?
It's a can of Campbell's condensed French onion soup.
Okay.
2 big handfuls of dried shiitake mushrooms.
Heck yeah.
And an entire can of bamboo shoots. You reduce that until you can wipe it off the back of the spoon, if that makes any sense.
A nappe, if you will.
yeah.
And then strain it and reserve the liquid. I add it to everything. A couple tablespoons in ramen. Put it in your meatloaf. Make salad dressing with it.
Don't
that's all.
laugh.
I hope that enriches your day.
Stop laughing. This is great.
This is the most unique thing I've ever heard on this podcast.
This is just an umami flavor bomb.
It's sure. So making
just
like
the
the
flavor
shiitake broth liquid, but he said it was Campbell's condensed. Which one? Which soup? Was it
French onion.
French onion. So not cream of
Yeah. So it's onion soup. It's condensed onion soup.
Yeah.
It's shiitake mushrooms, dried.
in bamboo shoots.
Dude, he just made a flavor bomb. You can, if you go to any ramen restaurant in LA, they will charge you $7 to add that flavor combo.
Well,
so way to go, I'm proud of you.
True, but that flavor combo, when you add it to ramen, it's literally called tare, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Like tare
is an oil, isn't it?
No, I
Not
believe
always?
tare is like a kind of concentrate of dashi kombu
Okay.
and soy and some other things. Like that's what you've made is a very heritage American tare.
Sounds delicious.
But albeit with shiitake and bamboo shoots. But the Campbell soup, I do think 95% of what you've achieved could be just achieved by the Campbell soup itself. You know what I'm saying?
Don't tell him it's fun for
Well,
him.
no, I know it's very fun. And again, this is like incredibly unique. And I love that you have that strictly from a culinary standpoint. How much are those bamboo shoots doing?
They're adding body, probably.
Adding body, straining it off. You think the bamboo shoots boiling is going to add
still
body?
some comes in. What do you mean?
Bamboo shoots are like, I feel like you eat bamboo shoots for the texture, not the flavor.
His bamboo shoots are probably the really like gummy, like soft ones, not the hard ones that you're used to.
I'm fascinated by this.
It sounds good to me. And
It definitely sounds good.
Bamboo shoots have a very clean, clear, bacterial taste to them.
It's like the bay leaf. The bamboo shoot is the bay leaf. You know what I mean? It's
Still
like
does
that little subtle baseline coming in.
Subtle something. It's just
I'd put some wood chips in there.
Freak.
Have you seen that guy
Yeah.
that makes the wood flavored ice
yes,
cream?
I have.
That's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
He made it with these weird trees that smell really gross.
Saw that.
Birchwood pear tree, is that what it's called?
Something.
Birch Rind pear, beach pear,
Peach plum pear.
and he made an ice cream out of the flowers and the wood, and he said, "Ew, it tastes like it smells."
Yeah, but then he just made like an oak ice cream and it was great. Put some wood chips in
Do
your
you
liquor.
feel like you've tasted it because you've seen it?
Absolutely not.
I hate you.
Absolutely not.
I
because
literally hate you.
I am inspired by the idea.
You mean to tell me that you can't qualify in your head that what you've seen and all the experience of your life, you've been able to, like, you've been around wood chips and you've been around ice cream and you've probably had some wacky ice cream, so you can't put yourself in the creator's shoes?
I can put myself there mentally, but I also think there's something endemic to the human experience about being in a place physically and tactilely experiencing the world forever. Seeing a photo
But you
of
don't
a
have-
mountain doesn't do the justice of standing in its majesty.
That's fair. But you can't,
I
like,
want to eat the wood.
but you can't taste the wood without eating it?
No.
Maybe I have
Well-
synesthesia.
No, I think you're just addicted to TikTok. Did you see a TikTok saying that you might have synesthesia? And now you think you do?
No.
What color is 9?
Purple.
Oh, maybe she got it. Maybe she's got it, folks.
I do have a form of synesthesia.
Sometimes I smell emotions. Love smells like birchwood.
It's giving scared.
Wait.
I smell different.
Oh my God, she's pregnant. Well, on that note, thank you so much for stopping by. A Hot Dog is a Sandwich. We've got new episodes out on audio platforms every Wednesday, new videos out on Thursday.
If you want to be...
Sorry, dude, new videos are out on Sunday. I just said
What?
Thursday.
You
That's crazy. I was like, what's the day next to Wednesday? And
Aw.
it's Sunday now.
It would make sense for it to be on Thursday.
Yeah, one would think.
If you want to be featured on Opinions Like Casseroles, hit us up at 833-DOG-POD1.
And if you like seeing videos of our faces saying words, we got plenty more where that came from over at the Myth Kitchen channel. That's over at the YouTube's Hot Dogs. Check it out.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.